does E3 do anything for you, Cap? In 2021?
I'm not sure if it ever did anything for me.
You're not sure if it
To be
ever did
honest.
anything for you. There was never like a, oh, dude, you got the fucking Halo trailer. Not to stereotype you as like someone who, that could be that. But like that was never like, that was never
I
your
did
jam?
play Halo, yes. That was actually how I started my competitive gaming career. I played Halo 1 with my cousin split screen. And then we had so much fun doing that. And then Halo 2 came out. And Halo 2 had Xbox Live. And I was able to compete online against people. And I started getting really into that. So Halo 2 and Halo 3 were my first forays into competitive gaming of some sort.
Well, I might have known that, but because we're talking about this game that you're enjoying. I'm thinking about E3 stuff, and I know that you were a very busy boy this last week.
Yes.
These last 2
Yes.
weeks. So really, quote, gaming news might not be top of mind. You got other things to think about and do and work and cast your best.
What happened at E3, Joey?
The thing is that actually, like, I'm not here because I want to be like, oh, dude, look at all this fucking E3 stuff, man. Yeah. Like, that's actually not the angle I want to take. I feel like, as E3 starts to become less grandiose and less of a real thing, I feel more and more disjointed. I'm like someone who blinked mid projectile. I'm fucking disjointed from E3. I love that you're smiling. I let the audience note that Austin is smiling after I said that.
Okay.
I it just doesn't feel like it used to anymore. There's like less news because there's more news scattered throughout the year. There's no in-person convention to go to and like hang out with people in hotel bars. The shows of old that used to cover all this stuff super well and succinctly like don't exist, and the ones that try to now from like either E3 or Twitch themselves I think are objectively bad. So I'm just someone who like reads Reddit during E3 week and goes, oh, that's cool. I'm excited for that thing. Like Elden Ring, because I'm a giant From Software fan. I'm a From Software stan. Or like, oh man, Nintendo's making another 2D Metroid game? That hasn't happened in 19 years. I wonder if it's gonna be good. Like, that's something that I can like get excited about. Or like, oh boy,
Okay.
there's a new Mario Party game. Mom and I are gonna get fucking lit. Like, stuff like that. I'm happy for certain announcements, but it feels like it's lost so much of its luster to me, and I think that's a combination of both, it getting shittier and me getting older and grumpier, and I just can't be here and be like, dude, I gotta talk to you about E3 stuff, because I mean I could talk to you about Elden Ring for a while. Like that's the thing I'm
I
excited
did look
about.
up the trailer for Elden Ring. I did hear about that. I looked that up. That looked, it seems like something I might play. New Mario Party. Well, the Mario Party that they have on the Switch kind of sucked, to be honest.
Oh, it's really because there's 4 maps.
Yeah, and also the maps didn't have like the special stuff that Mario Parties used to have. I felt like some of the games were lackluster. Honestly, Blitz and I had this period of time. I think it was when we were going to India, where we played Mario Party together, and we just played. We didn't actually play Mario Party itself because it didn't have all the random fun shit that old Mario Parties had. It just felt like it was Mario Party toned down by like 50%. So instead, we would just play there was like an optional mode where you could just play mini games against each other, and so we would just do that.
That sounds like the best way to enjoy something. Let me brief you on the new Mario Party. I'm sure people want. Oh man! Oh wow! T1. They want to whatever the fuck. Like So Mario Party, what they're doing is I think it kind of irks me a little bit. So let's look at what Nintendo has done with some of their like marquee party game franchises. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. The best Mario Kart game that exists. It's got so many maps, so many characters. It evolves over time. There's DLC. It feels great. It feels like the penultimate. That's not the right word. It feels like the ultimate Mario Kart experience that exists. Smash Ultimate. That's the whole point of Smash Ultimate. Every character, every map, constantly evolving. 4 years. It is the Smash game that exists. Melee fans notwithstanding.
I mean, yeah, shittier version of Melee, but go on.
I think you're being an elitist old person. That's fine. You know, we can move past that. Mario Party. Instead of doing Mario Party Ultimate, or by any other name, they're doing this watered down version of it. What they're doing is basically they're doing Mario Party like best of. It's the best of album. They're doing like 4 old maps from the Nintendo 64 games and like the best mini games from the previous 10 games. So like in theory, it's distilling the stuff that we like. It has, you know, Mario Party 1 and 2 and 3 maps that, you know, give us those nostalgia boners. And it's got the good mini games we're going to like, right? But that's it.
Okay.
That's it. Like, I would want, give me fucking 10 maps. Give me maps from every game. Give me different game. Give me a bunch of stuff. But they're not doing it. They're not doing it. So I don't even know if I can get excited for this. And you know the crazy thing about this? I know that this wasn't where we intended to go right now. But you really got me boiling hot for some reason. I think it's actually because it's warm in Los Angeles. I haven't turned the air conditioning on. Are there any game franchises that you have played every entry of that have more than, say, 4 entries?
I don't think so. No, I played Halo 1, 2, and 3, and then I think I played, what was it, like ODST that came out after that or something. But I think I maybe didn't even finish that one. Shit, not really. No, Final Fantasies, I played 7, 8, 9, 10, 10-2. And then I stopped at 10-2 because 10-2 is real fucking bad. So I never played a Final Fantasy game again.
I have played every single Mario Party game. And I know that shouldn't be like an accomplishment, right?
It's a party game, Joey. You're supposed to be you don't. There's no story to follow. Like, why would you play every single one?
I have played every single one. I've owned most of them. I've played them with a bunch of different people a bunch of different times in my life. I have played every single Mario Party and every single Mario Kart game. I guess if you extrapolate this a little bit farther, I've also played every mainline Mario game, and I've also played every mainline Half-Life game. But, like, I've played fucking 11 Mario Party games, and they can't even get me with this bullshit. I'm the core devo. I'm the one who wants it. I haven't played the fucking Game Boy Advance Mario Party. You know how bad that is?
Oh, Jesus. Why would you play that? God, that sounds awful. Joey, you have a problem. You have a completionist problem that lends you to having bad experiences, consuming bad media.
Yes. You know what? My ultimate, when I think about that, the first thing that I think about is I've watched every episode of Weeds. And I know that's probably a dated reference for a lot of people. It's probably a very westernized
that's
reference.
Like the suburban mom needs to be able to sell marijuana to make ends meet. I feel like I watched like the first season of that.
The first season's of Weeds for its time and potentially even still now. Pretty good, pretty funny. There's like 8 seasons of that show, and it gets horrible after season 3. As soon as the Grustic burns down, the show sucks. Full stop.
I don't know what that means.
Anywho, I played every Mario Party game. What's your favorite Final Fantasy game? I'm sorry,
9.
I'm just all over the place. 9?
Yeah, 9.
Okay, I just bought 9 on my Switch. It was on sale. I never played it.
Okay. I will not even try and defend liking 9 the most. I know it is incredibly nostalgia based for me. I recently played through it. It was still good, but I also played it on. So you bought it on the Switch, right?
I did. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Make sure to use the features that they give you for making grinding faster. Just do that.
Just to save myself time, you know, and
yeah, just do that, just so you can do the grinding. There is some like real. 9 is one of those. If you have a completionist mindset, oh boy, Joey, you may be in for a bit of a.
I can compartmentalize it. I don't complete every game I'm gonna play like that, right? Like I'm really good at what I choose to complete and not complete. So like I think that I'm gonna be okay with it, but I never.
Okay. Have you played any of it yet?
No.
Okay. Well, almost right away, you're gonna go through the little town and you're gonna encounter the jump rope minigame. That will be the first test of completionism, because you cannot go back to that mini game. And let me just tell you, that mini game is annoying as fuck trying to complete. Okay, you should not try. All right, if you give up on the jump rope, okay, then you are free to give up on everything that happens afterwards, because there's another mini game shortly thereafter. The choreography of the sword fight, that also you need to be able to do perfectly in order to have a completionist mindset. You can't go back to that. There's there's a secret boss that is like takes forever to actually be able, literally takes hours to be able to beat. So yeah, it's if you can't do the jump rope, just accept it and just be like, all right, well, I'm not gonna do everything here.
Okay, great advice. I'm someone I think that my like gaming repertoire is like actually incredibly diverse. I think that's actually one of the things that I just said actually 5 times. I actually can't talk, but I actually can talk about video games quite ad nauseum and feel like I have a good breadth. And I get a lot of shit because I have not played most Final Fantasy games because I'm not a big JRPG person. And I finally, really played a Final Fantasy game when 7 Remake came out last year. And now the other 2 that I have in my crosshairs because of massive amounts of feedback, which I think even me saying this is going to elicit more feedback, is both 9, which is why I was excited you said 9, and also 6.
6, huh? Okay. I do know some good things about 6. I would still highly recommend 10. I think 10 was a fantastic game. Awkward laughing aside, I think 10 was really good. The music, so beautiful in 10. 9 and 10 have the best music for me, so I would highly recommend both of those. So yeah.
It's been.
What were we talking about?
I literally just you were like, hey, I was playing this game, I liked it, and then I was like Battle Network, and you were like Final Fantasy, and I was like Mario Party, and we were like, fuck, I hate everything.
Joey, TI has been canceled.
Oh, is that what we're talking, dude? We did. I'm gonna go out on a limb. I think that we did potentially 4 or 5 episodes in a row that were over 90% Dota content. And even just spending 15 minutes talking about bullshit was refreshing for me. Also, the game that I was referencing earlier, I played One Step from Eden. That's the Mega Man Battle Network like game.
That one was good. That was good. I enjoyed that. I actually may go back and play that just because that is a hard game, and I
it's difficult.
Complete it. Yeah,
it's difficult.
So I may go back and take that one up. But then again, I've got roguelikes to fill right now. One Step from Eden, I could go back and do that. But Binding of Isaac, I haven't even come close to completing with the new update that came in. I'm playing The Last Spell. So, yeah, my plate is full.
What? TI is canceled. Wow.
TI is canceled, yeah.
I'm pretty sure that we played our first ever Dota game together today.
Oh yeah.
I'm pretty sure. I'm not 100% sure, but I am pretty confident that we played our first Dota game ever today. How fucking long have we been doing this for?
Year and a half?
Probably close to 2.
It's close to 2 years because we started right before TI and we're about right before TI. So yeah. Yeah.
We're hitting close to 2 years, right? We finally played a game at Dota together today. After context, Austin's like, hey, when you want to record the podcast? And then I was like, oh, I'm busy. And then I went
very busy. Joey invites me to a Dota queue.
Invite the Dota lobby, and you go, oh. Every so often, probably like every 2 months, Liquid does a game day where their staff isn't really supposed to work and they're just supposed to like bond and play games together and stuff like that.
I figured that's what it was doing because it was a party full of all Liquid people, so I assumed there was a company thing.
It was a company thing, and Will, who is like not anywhere close by, was like, hey, are people gonna play Dota? And I'm like, dude, I've been trying. And I'm like, maybe if I use your celebrity Mr. Blitz Dota, Mr. Storm Spirit TV. Maybe people will want to play Dota with us. And we couldn't even get a full stack. I needed you to fill. Just so you can carry us.
Well, that didn't work out very well. We played single draft. Blitz ended up playing mid Pudge, Rush to Radiant.
Again,
offlane Dazzle.
Mid Pudge on the NA server when he is in EU.
Yeah. So, and also Radiance first, which may or may not have been a good or bad idea. And I think we got stomped pretty hard. But
I played. Yeah, I realized that in retrospect that actually what we were doing there is we were playing with two top 1500 Immortal players, and Immortal, that's wrong. Divine? What do they call that? Immortal?
No, you're right.
Yeah.
Immortal.
Okay, I should second guess myself less.
Right.
I'm confident. And then I think a Herald player and me who's probably still around 4.5, but it's decayed a bunch and isn't ranked. Really, really stuff that was all over the place. So maybe in 2 years again we can play another game of Dota, and it can be a similar poor experience.
It's okay. I'm down to play more party queue Dota in general. I have lost my general will to play solo queue. I think maybe it's just age. Could be. Also, a bit of it is me hitting 8K, so I no longer had anything to strive for.
9K.
I no longer.
Duh.
It's not gonna happen. All right. That's possible in 2 years from now when MMR is so inflated that pro players are hitting 15,000 MMR. Then I can hit 9K. But as of right now, it's not possible for me to hit 9K. So I hit 8,000 MMR. I had nothing really to play for. And so I just started experimenting, and I started playing a bunch of heroes that I felt like I needed to learn more for the patch. Broodmother, as an example. Hoodwink, been playing lots of that. And Train Protector is my recent go-to. Lots of techies, because I think that hero is actually really good. And I lost over 1,000 MMR in about a month and a half. So,
wow, so you're back in the 6 range. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
cool.
It's not been good for me.
That's a good way to kick you down. I'm surprised you just don't have a second account for that, and you could have just left yours and just been
I was going to, Joey, but then all the degenerates that I know that have secondary accounts, none of them really had an account that fit me. Jenkins gave me an account that he gave to Sammy Boy that has somehow had a 2,000 behavior score. I couldn't find games. I literally would just queue for hours on end on that account and couldn't find games anywhere. I think Mickey, I was using Mickey Smurf or something like that, or somebody Smurf, and that was way too low MMR. So I was like, all right, I can't use this either. It was just a mess. I was like, whatever. I finally gave up. I played on my account, and now I've lost a billion MMR. So
that's rough. I'm sorry. My condolences.
I play purely for fun. I played a Pudge game the other day, and actually, let me just say, I have a 27% win rate on Pudge, and this last Pudge game that I played was baller. I didn't win, but I played really well.
So, I generally don't ask people to play Dota, because I feel like I exist in this really weird void where I'm with MMR inflation, I get if I were to play Dota pretty seriously with the current MMR inflation, I would guess I'm around 5K. That's where I think I am ish. You might have different opinions after you watch me play that game today, but my lane was really fucking stupid. I don't know if you saw.
28-minute Battle Fury no Manta yet was pretty rough.
I don't think you knew how bad my lane was. It was impossible. I should have actually just jungled and then just gone back and forth to base the whole time. But I was trying to be a team player and hang out with. God, I really hope Dennis isn't listening to this. Dennis, I love you. Your polls were not great.
So you're saying you exist in a weird point where you can't casually play with some
because,
people?
Yes, because who the fuck am I to be Hey, Mr. 8000 MMR Austin or Blitz or a lot of my friends who are like legitimately very good and in the professional Dota space who, could realistically play amateur tournaments because they are divine ranked. My friends, I shit you not, my friends are either divine or herald, and there's like almost nothing in between. So if I go to play with my friends who are really bad, then it's generally not really a fun time. Or if I go to play with my friends who are really good, it's also generally not a fun time. Because I don't have anybody who exists in that middle ground with me who I can consistently play games with.
Well, listen, I've lost enough MMR that we can now play together. Before, AK games probably would have been too annoying. But now that I've lost over 1,000 MMR, we can probably play some games together.
And you can carry a little bit more, just boost me up because you're clearly better than, 6 something.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see. We'll see. I mean, I have to warn you, I will be playing a lot of techies, Pudge, what other experimental Hoodwink, Viper, Kunkka, offlane Viper and Kunkka. That's my jam right now. Those are current meta heroes that I think I could learn a little bit more about. So,
as long as you don't mind when I occasionally pick Sniper when it's inappropriate, just because I want to have some fun.
Oh yeah, you want to do a Sniper Pudge lane? That's I believe they call that a tuba.
A tuba?
Yes, that's a Jenkins and Newsham duo queue very often on their Smurfs, and they play the Pudge Sniper together in the off lane.
But why tuba?
I don't fucking know. Because Jenkins is a really weird ass random guy. That's why.
Fair. Yeah, so. If you play with me, you used to put up with my preferred hero pool being like, a Luna CK, an occasional sniper Jug.
That's fine.
Troll.
That's fine. I can make those work.
Man, TI's canceled? Is that what you said? I know I glossed over, but
yeah,
what?
TI is canceled. It's we just decided it's not a thing anymore. We're not going to do that. It's too hard.
At least I have a show title. Sometimes I struggle to think of what to actually title the episode or put on the thumbnail, right? It's just like, oh god, I got to think about it. But TI's canceled. Great. Clickbait. Easy.
Yeah, clickbait, and then they tune in. They're like, why are they talking about everything but Dota?
Mario Party? What the fuck? Hey, why aren't there timestamps on the YouTube video? Why aren't there timestamps on the YouTube video? Because I don't have time to sit down and watch it back for 90 minutes. That's why. I'm really sorry. I was so surprised to see that news post today.
Yeah, me too. I did not hear any whiff of this little bit going on. That is my favorite part. So for those who are listening to this and haven't been paying attention to the regular Dota stuff, especially since it just happened, we may actually be breaking the news to you. So they're probably sitting here going, wait, TI's canceled? Why aren't they talking about that?
Why are they being so casual?
So yes, TI has been canceled. Valve put out a big update, an important update on TI 10, the International Dota 2 Championships in Sweden. And I'll read just little bits of it. Over the course of the past year, Stockholm Live and Visit Stockholm continued to reassure us in our regular and constant communications with them that the International Dota 2 Championships qualified for the same exemptions other elite sporting events there received. However, despite previous reassurances, we were informed 2 weeks ago that the Swedish Sports Federation had just voted not to accept esports into the Sports Federation. Now, part of the reason I'm reading this is because I think it's hilarious that Valve is just straight up going, fuck you!
There's not a lot of politics
fuck you,
there.
Sweden!
Yeah. They're like, hey, everybody, we got nothing to hide. This is the most buck passy thing I've seen in a long time. People are like, they do not want it to be ambiguous at all that they could have made a mistake. They took the other party here, put them right in their fucking scope, and fired, like right between the eyes. Like there was no mincing words here.
Yeah, and they didn't just leave it up to like, Swedish bureaucracy, the government. No, they straight up calling out the Swedish Sports Federation. Let me read this next bit. In subsequent and immediate, I thought that was a funny little bit. They put it in parentheses. In subsequent and immediate meetings with the Swedish Esports Federation and visit Stockholm, we discovered our only remaining option was to ask Sweden's Minister of the Interior to reclassify the International Dota 2 Championships as an elite sporting event. Our request was immediately denied. Immediately. So they not only say like, yo, fuck this Swedish Sports Federation, but also fuck the Sweden's Minister of Interior. They said, nah, this isn't like Swedish government as a whole. We're gonna say fuck this organization and fuck this guy.
Right between the fucking eyes.
Yep. God. And then it goes on to say a bunch of stuff that basically, they put it in a final appeal, blah, 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 and they're looking for other options now in case they can't do it in Sweden. So, yeah.
Snap
TI,
reaction. Where's TI?
Snap reaction. It is in Kyiv or Bucharest.
Okay, so I can hear your thinking here. That's where they have two TOs who can help that they know that they just did events for.
Yes. Also, the fact that Eastern Europe in general is going to be easier to do events than Western Europe. There's a reason why we were able to just do an event in Kyiv. PGL is the white label production behind a lot of TI stuff. They always work with PGL, every single TI, so it would make some sense that they would just go to Bucharest, because if they're already working with PGL, maybe PGL has better contacts with the Romanian government to be able to make this thing happen, because they have to have connections already in place, because TI is a month and a half away and it just got potentially canceled. So they got to figure out a solution fast.
I think you have the two most likely answers, assuming it stays in Europe. I'll toss out three more.
Okay.
Cologne.
Yeah, absolutely.
Germany, ESL, potential help, maybe some synergy there, right?
Yeah.
Also, TI1, TI10 synergy, right?
Yeah, works nicely.
Cool. Reykjavik.
Where?
Reykjavik.
Where's that?
Iceland.
Oh, where is that? Where they just had the Valorant finals?
That's where they just had the Valorant Masters, and that's also where they had MSI for Riot. And I know that like Riot did spend a good chunk of money to go over there, but there's a reason why Riot chose that spot, right? Because they worked very well with the company putting on the event. They made a lot of accommodations. It's still European. It's a pretty neutral region. It's easier flights. It's going to be a little more expensive, but I think if they're looking to do something that is still not based out of like a TO's home like Bucharest, I think Reykjavik there's a strong outside possibility for.
Sure. And I'm gonna guess your final one is
Seattle.
All right. Well, for those of you guys who haven't read the post, it does specifically say that they will be trying to find a new place. We feel confident that in either instance, we will have a solution that allows us to hold TI-10 in Europe this year. So they did specifically say they're going to try and do Europe. But yes, if all else fails, Seattle may be a possibility.
I think it's going to be one of those 5 places.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be one of those 5 places. I cannot believe that they just still put those motherfuckers on blast.
I mean, to be fair, it's like they're learning that their event, their big key hallmark event,
2 years in the making.
2 years in the making, is getting canceled a month and a half out. Like, Ooh, they're probably
I like that they were
pissed.
also like, by the way, the Spectre Arcane is coming next week.
Oh yeah, and this other new event thing, it's also coming as well later this week. I mean, to be fair, it is like in a way, it's very funny, like inadvertent damage control because people are like, "Where's our patch? Where's all this other stuff?" And then Valve just drops this bomb, like, "Hey, we're currently dealing with TI might be getting canceled, so you know your other shit is gonna have to wait."
To be fair, if the person who actually handled TI wasn't the same person who like needed to update the client to make sure that like the patch is working, maybe it'll be easier to do both at the same time. Maybe you just staff a couple more people. Maybe you staff someone whose sole purpose. Maybe you staff 2 or 3 people whose sole purpose is to just like run the esports division and make sure that all this stuff gets produced properly. Maybe, and not have it be whoever has to also go work on the auto chess update.
Yeah, but then you'd have to split the millions of dollars more ways, you know? You'd have more employees to split all that money with.
I'm just saying, if they were hiring, I'd make a case for myself.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. I'd make a case for myself. I'm amicable to moving to Seattle, I guess. I can go say hi to your mom.
Me too.
It'd be great.
I do that as well. For Dota,
Yeah.
I would retire casting and help make Dota 2 esports great again.
And you'd get so fucking swole in that Valve gym.
The Valve gym.
Dude,
they've got trainers there and everything.
You get so swole.
Or I'd get so fat off of the Valve snack bar. That is also a real possibility.
Anywho, joking aside, I feel like it's almost hard to give commentary on news like this because it's like, okay, it's kind of funny that it's happening. Okay, the messaging is very out of left field from Valve, who's generally more mild-mannered. Oh, this is potentially a problem for a lot of people. This could really suck. But, like, where do you go beyond that? It's just like, it's kind of disarming in how unexpected it is. I felt disarmed by the news. Like, I didn't know. Like, I had to sit and, like, look at it and be like, what?
And, everybody keeps on making jokes about Bulldog. Bulldog.
It's really funny.
Yeah. And nobody's taking that step of making it a conspiracy from OG. Like they're potentially not going to TI, so they just cancel TI itself.
It's true. As soon as No Tail was like, sorry guys, then they're just like, oh well, I guess we can just cancel the event, and then he'll tweet about it, I guess.
Oh man, yeah. This whole thing is not much to say about it. The Valve was pretty clear in their messaging. There's not there's literally zero inside information that I have on any of this. I don't really have any speculation. It just seems like, well, this sucks, and we're just gonna have to wait and see what happens. Maybe TI is gonna get postponed a little bit. Maybe it'll happen a little bit later. We'll have to see. That part will suck because we just got done doing a shortened season of the DPC, which again, I feel like the shortened season also created some problems that people had with the DPC. The point allocation and stuff like that. I honestly do think it's a little bit different and a little bit better if there's full 3 seasons, and also if teams are in just better shape than they were. But
I think it's better if international
TI.
events give more points than the seasons. But I'll keep
Yeah. No doubt. But I think it's more egregious because it's only 2 seasons.
Not enough data. There was not enough data collected.
Yeah. So
and
it
don't
would suck
qualifiers
to
start?
delay the next year's season because we have to delay TI. That would suck. That's the part I'm not looking forward to, because if we delay TI, that just means players and talent are in this limbo. We're already in limbo where we're just waiting for TI to happen, but it's a good limbo. It's a good night. It's a nice break. No events are happening. Just chill out for a month and then focus on TI. But now, if that limbo goes 2 months, 3 months, then
I don't imagine. I would be absolutely shocked if TI happened any later than September.
I would be too. I would
be shocked. What month did the DPC start in this year?
It was before the Chinese New Year. It happened midway through. So I think it was like early February.
Okay, early February. Because yeah, if you push TI too late, then you have this problem where like no one's really going to play events November, December because those are just like dead esports months, right?
Yeah.
So then you would have to start again in January at the start of the year. Then maybe you can do 3 seasons if you like make the math work out and don't have a lot of third-party events. But
yeah,
I think that TI will still happen in August.
Yeah, hopefully that does happen. I expect it will. Other than that, I don't really know what else to say about it. It's big news, but it's not much to add to it.
Well, speaking of third-party events, I know how to segue. Segues aren't awkward. ESL happened.
Yeah.
You got to do it from the comfort of your own home.
Oh.
That was nice.
BSJ and Fogged and Purge and all those fuckers got to do the DPC from their home. Now it's my turn because I was in the Schengen area too long, so they couldn't have me there in Sweden. It was impossible.
I mean, I actually didn't watch that much of ESL. I've actually felt pretty Dota fatigued after all the time I spent watching the Animajor.
Yeah. I think that's fair. I think some viewers felt that way. Viewers said the talent felt that way. I don't know if that's actually true or not, but yeah. Talk about that. I'm getting real fed up with the community. And then players, teams in general, they like many of the players or teams did not look super great at ESL one summer. Some of whom were not at the Animajor, so that was kind of surprising. I feel like for those not at the Animajor, this was the chance to be able to like really, go deep in a tournament and get some really good practice for what is the upcoming big official matches. But
so you have a similar opinion of me, which is disappointed in Viking GG.
A little bit, yeah. Who else was I disappointed in? OG actually did pretty well. They didn't make it to the final day. They ended up losing to Alliance, but I thought they looked pretty good. Quincy Crew, once again, bit disappointing. Virtus Pro looked a lot better. That was actually the upside of it, is it felt like VP was like, oh, hey, this is the VP that we've been talking about for the last 2 seasons that never showed up to the major. So, it was, I felt like I was just saying, believe me, guys. No, trust me. They're really good.
They're good. I promise. I did the whole CIS read. They're good. I promise, guys.
Everybody's telling. I've got all the inside information. They're really good.
They're winning all the scrims.
Smashing everybody. And then they just
I mean, in my brain, who have never seen these people really, play or talk to them or know what the situation is, they're a bunch of kids who probably just a little more experience on LAN.
Yeah. Oh, Tundra wasn't great. That was and I'm only saying Tundra because Kyle obviously he raised some he ruffled some feathers with that one. He made a rather rude tweet about Tundra and in general teams just not looking good before the TI qualifiers. So yeah. Kyle with his hot takes, man. He can't stop. He asked me later, he's like, do you think I went too far? I'm like, yeah, I do.
That's probably good feedback. Just a quick, honest yes. Maybe tone it down just a skosh. Or not.
Reddit seems to agree with him, though, so,
I don't know. I was excited to see T1 win something. I did watch the finals, and that was it. And then I checked in to see some of the actual paneling, what was going on. That event had so many commercials. I know that's not a hot take, I know that I'm saying this.
Did you not watch the DPC? Do you remember how many? I think it was the same setup.
I think maybe because when I was watching the DPC, I was just like tuning in for a Liquid game and then like kind of having it on in the background and like phasing it out and like having specific viewing. Whew.
Yeah, you watch that show as a whole, it is fatiguing.
There's so many tosses
there are.
I don't envy your like how many times now knowing how many times you had to just like welcome people to and from breaks and commercials for the Eastern Europe stream. Dude, holy shit, you got a lot of host practice.
That is why that joke about I was joking with Sheever again, that the fact that I was like, I hate the word break. I keep on saying the word break, and I don't know how else to say that we're going to a commercial break, because we're constantly going to a break. It's break after break. There's so many breaks. And
you're a union
and then
job.
She came up with the idea of the fucking the soundboard, because both of us were tired of trying to come up with better ways to throw to a break when we constantly had to do it. So yeah, that is why the soundboard became a thing. For those who are wondering, I think I talked about this before. It comes down to a Twitch contract, I believe. Basically 6 minutes split up in 2 different ways. So they have to have 2 3-minute breaks every hour. So yeah.
Thanks, Twitch.
Yeah.
For Facebook gaming, bro.
Yeah. It's fucking goddamn it. Can we get some real goddamn competitors to Twitch in here? Like, I know everybody hated Facebook and nobody wants to watch YouTube, but like,
I always watch the YouTube stream because of the rewind. I always watch the YouTube stream when I can.
Yeah.
I watched it exclusively for the Animator. Also, I'm someone who could not give less of a shit about Twitch chat. I know it's like some people's jam. I know some people like that. Really just not for me. Really not for me.
I think it's kind of fun. It depends. It depends. If it's Southeast Asia versus Southeast Asia, it actually gets too toxic for me. The fucking racial fucking slurs that go around and insults, that is way too much for me. I'm just like, holy shit.
So, are you participating in the qualifiers?
No. Me? No.
I mean, no, not playing, but like, are you?
Oh, BTS is doing official English coverage, but apparently anybody can do coverage if they want.
So they're not tied to regions like the DPC seasons or TOs?
No, they're not. Tournament organizers have no control over their qualifier. That is still, I guess, held by Valve, and Valve decided to give it to BTS. And I gave Kyle gave our rate to BTS. And I don't think they accepted that, which was fine, because I wasn't really sure if I wanted to be able to do it anyway. Just because apparently they were only going to, I think they hired Owen for only like 3 series. So I assumed they would have done the same. I get the idea, which was probably, get the tier 3 casters, the starting games, the lower bracket games and stuff like that. Give the tier 2 casters some of the upper bracket games, and then pull in the tier 1 casters for the last little bit, so everybody gets a chance to cover it. And it's also a good way to save money. But like, there's just something about it. Something always bothers me. It's like when Valve like TI7, it's like in general they use their talent list. They never separate who's doing group stage and main stage, because that way they can just say, we invited all these people, but like half of them, if not more, are not actually going to work the main event, right? So it's something about it is just kind of like, I don't want you to hire me just for like upper bracket finals and grand finals. That kind of like, I want to be able to like, actually cover a lot of the tournaments. So I'm probably just going to do a lot of it on my own channel.
Well, it's going to be fun. I can kind of see that perspective. I feel like I would feel guilty in like a way that's not necessarily good for business, but like oh hey, look at me coming in to like, pinch hit for the final game against all these fucking plebs who had to do the lower bracket. Like, don't worry, daddy's here. Like,
yeah, excuse you, everybody. The important matches are on, so it's time for a real caster to show up.
Yeah, that's shitty. That's shitty.
Yeah.
And I know that's like, that's gonna get to BTS more views and blah 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 blah, right? But I guess not the biggest fan of that. The qualifiers start like tomorrow or something. Isn't it like immediately? Isn't it like this week?
I know it's starting soon. I just to be honest, I haven't been. I just figure I'll do it when it shows up. Let's see. English coverage June 23rd. So not tomorrow, but the next day. June 23rd begins the South American and Eastern European broadcasts. So, yeah, I've yet to determine whether or not I'm going to do both regions that show up. Yeah, we'll just kind of. Excuse me, getting a little hiccups. We'll just see how it goes, but yeah, unfortunately, sounds like most of the other casters are going to be doing the BTS stuff, so I don't really have anybody to work with in that regard. So I'll just see what pro players and stuff want to show up. I'll just do it the exact same way that I did the Singapore Major. I think that was good and fun. And this time around, I don't have to deal with a 10-minute delay on my Twitch chat and shit. So, yeah. Oh, let me just side note here. Fucking, I see sometimes these complaints about like the community guidelines and stuff, and like the people complaining about how it's too hard. Like, what? I did the entire Singapore Major that way. Like, what do you mean? Follow the guidelines. Make it work. Make it happen. You want to be a caster? Fucking make it happen. Like, why are you complaining? Jesus.
Some real Shia LaBeouf shit. No excuses. Just do it, eh?
Yeah. Yeah, just do it.
Man,
what are you looking at?
Oh, God, is that obvious? I was coloring something. Never mind. Okay. I'm paying attention to the show that I'm doing.
What are you coloring? Show it to me now. This is your punishment.
I have notes. It says qualifiers up top, and then it says ESL, where it was like branched off to T1 and VP. And I was like coloring this in because I finished talking about it. And then right there it says Bezos.
I thought that said Bezos.
So
well, I did. I watched it. I watched the Inside special. Very good.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Let me.
I know this is a bit of a swerve, but
it's a bit of a swerve. It's a bit of a swerve. I don't, but Cap, maybe I wanted to ask you who's going to win the qualifiers. Is it going to be Undying and No Ping? Are you having a Red Bull at 9:30? That's going to fuck with your sleep schedule, sir. Is it going to, oh man, is OG or Tundra or whatever going to win Europe? No, I don't care about any of that shit, except I genuinely hope that Undying gets to go to TI because I'd like to see what they can do because they're the only other team that's good in North America. And I think that the Southeast Asia qualifiers are going to be pretty litty because any of those teams can win. And my next couple of months change dramatically based on how well or not well Liquid play. So I'm very invested in like literally a very small subset of the qualifiers.
I will very quickly give my predictions because I'm sure there's somebody who wants to know. I've been getting asked a billion times on stream. Undying, No Ping. Western Europe, I said Nigma, but I think OG looks pretty good, so that's pretty much a three-way toss-up. Eastern Europe, I'm going to go Spirit, though that's my heart going Spirit. My head says Na'Vi. China, I'm going Elephant, though eHome is, I think that's a 50-50 pretty much between those two teams. And then I'm going Southeast Asia is a tough region, but I'm going TNC because I thought they actually looked pretty legit in the at the major. I think they were almost a better team than their placement, let's say. So
we have the same picks with the exception of I think that KP's team, SMG, is going to win Southeast Asia.
Okay, that's fair. I think like TNC
and Liquid, obviously, but like,
if you look at TNC's placement, they got knocked out by Evil Geniuses. who went on to the grand finals, right? And they won a game against EG. I actually thought TNC was very legit. So I have a hard time voting against them, considering their performance.
Any team in Southeast Asia, I think, can basically beat any team. I think that's the region that is the most like on the day of any of them. Right?
Yeah, for sure. I also in the group stage, they only lost to EG and LGD. They tied or won every other series. So again, it's like that team had a really legit performance. Just I think a little bit of rough luck.
It's true. I'm gonna need to cut myself off a little bit because I could spend another 50 minutes talking about Inside, which is Bo Burnham's new Netflix special.
Yes.
Background, I guess. I don't watch a ton of comedy.
Okay.
I generally don't like stand-up specials. I mean, I like them, but like in a passive way, and I don't like seek them out to watch them. I think there's very few comedians at all who like I really go out of my way for, and Bo is one of them. And that opinion I'm even conflicted about because I feel like that is such a fucking that feels not hip, which is my own problem with it, right? Like I feel like I think that I have a problem with wanting to be quote hip or like have a bit of a hipster mentality. Like I want to talk to you about a comedian that you don't know about.
Whoa. There's differences between hip and hipster. All right. Let's be clear. So do you want to be hip and do what's popular, or do you want to be a hipster and do what's not popular? Those are like literally the exact opposite.
I tend to skew towards the latter of being a hipster.
Yes, I know that. That's why I was very confused when you said I have a problem with being hip, and I was like, what? No, you don't. You would fit in very well in Portland. What do you mean?
It's not my most flattering personality trait. I don't rally behind it, right? I think that it is objectively not the best part of my personality. So
it's fine being a hipster as long as you understand like that like part of being a hipster is telling other people this really cool unique thing that you do that nobody else does purely for the sake of doing a unique thing that nobody else does. And that's the only reason you do it. So as long as you're doing it with clear intentions and not for the reason of being able to tell other people this
not to gatekeep.
Yes. As long as you're not doing that, as long as you're not on a bus in Portland, Oregon, using a typewriter to write instead of a laptop like the rest of the world because you want to look cool.
That's too far.
As long as you're not doing that, then you're good.
It's too far for me. I think that this, I might be being a little convoluted here. I think that my feelings of Bo Burnham actually mirror very nicely onto my feelings of Rick and Morty. I fucking love Rick and Morty. I think it's phenomenal. I truly do. I think that I think it's very good and smart. I hate admitting that. I hate admitting that, especially now in a modern day where you can go buy a Rick and Morty t-shirt with an 8-year-old at Target, right? Like I don't like it. It makes me feel dirty to share that. And that's kind of how I feel about being a rather large Bo Burnham fan, is that I feel like it's not cool because like he's mainstream and I was like, oh yeah, like of course, like, you know, whatever, like, oh, his stuff's so good. I'm a pretty big Bo Burnham fan. I would Same. I would probably note him as one of my most influential comics on my own writing and stuff personally. I think that I've taken a lot away from some of the stuff that he's done. I was super excited when Inside was announced because my understanding was that Bo was just going to, you know, like be a director and not really do stand-up because he was having trouble with it. He was like getting anxiety attacks and panic attacks and he was like moving on from that. And I'm like, oh, wow, this is like I didn't expect this to happen so soon. This is really interesting. And I didn't watch it night of. because I heard a lot of reports that it was like pretty heavy. It's about a 90-minute Netflix special that Bo, who is a comedian who has other specials on Netflix, did in his mother-in-law suite in the back house of his home in Los Angeles, that he filmed and edited and acted and wrote and did the entire show as a one-man production, right? And I heard, and I don't think I was in the right mindset for the first week to like really like dive into it and get there. And I'm glad that I waited. I'm glad that I waited because it is a little aggressive.
Yeah.
And I know that I am prone to speak with hyperbole. I think that people who have listened to a lot of episodes of the show, or just me talk, which probably just means listen to the show, know that sometimes I enjoy hyperbole for like colorful effect. And after watching Inside, my like top level review of it is that I think it is one of the most transformative pieces of media that I have watched personally myself, probably in the last decade. I walked away from it. I walked away from it with like interesting thoughts on comedy. I walked away from it from like interesting thoughts on like one man production stuff. I walked away with it with like just this large bag of like imposter syndrome on my back, because my first initial takeaway for literally about 5 to 6 days was, Joey, you're such a fucking hack. You've literally never made anything that is 1/10 as good as Inside is. Like, you think that you can like talk okay better than most people, or you can like you make funny stuff, you do cool stuff for Team Liquid or like on Twitch, whatever. I have literally not made anything that is like even 10% as good as what that special is, I think. And I think the reason why I think of it as so transformative is what I might really be trying to say is that I found it incredibly motivational. I found watching Inside and walking away from Inside as an opportunity to go, hey, Joey, you are almost 30, like Bo. He's done a lot of stuff. You really can't compare 1-to-1. That's not fair. That man is incredibly, impossibly talented. Cool. But you should probably work harder to do the stuff you want to do. And like, as pretentious as this sounds, make art. Because it's not that I want to do stuff that's exactly like that, but I do have more visions of like, grandeur and stuff that people sees, and just like making stuff from artistic creative output that I haven't fully been able to get close to realizing. Which, again, and let me caveat that, and I'm sorry, I'm just literally vomiting right now. Let me caveat that with, I know that I am in such a privileged position to like, do a weekly show on Team Liquid's Twitter, to make stuff that like a bunch of people see on Twitch, to do ads for Honda, to have a podcast platform, to do a bunch of stuff, right? Like, I am very far ahead of the game in terms of like, making stuff that people enjoy. People listen to this podcast, right? Like, I am privileged and ahead of the curve in that way. But I watch Inside and I go, I know that I can do a lot more. And I should probably start doing a lot more and not just settling for what I have right now. I didn't even talk about the fucking show, but like this is just like, that's why it's transformative, I think, right? Because like it's giving me like all these like thoughts and emotions, and I'm taking showers and thinking about it, and like it's something that I think that is going to stick with me and I'm going to think about for a long time, regardless of the music and the humor and the lighting and like what the actual show is.
Yes. Okay. So a couple of thoughts. Didn't you say you wanted to direct a movie or something like that, or a short film at some point?
Television more so than a movie.
Okay. Oh, right. Television. Right. Okay. So, do you think it's fair to say that most of your career has been doing more commercialized stuff?
Yes, and digital stuff.
Right. So that's where this is coming from, right? That you came into your job, your career with certain artistic aspirations, I'm sure, and you've been mostly doing commercial stuff. So that this, I'm presuming that's the point that you're trying to hit, is that like this basically kind of hit the point of like, hey, remember that you had artistic ambitions of creating like, deeper stuff than just commercials for Honda.
Yeah, you're 1,000% right, and I get a lot of gratification out of doing that. Like, I think that we objectively like make some pretty cool stuff, but like and maybe it's also a testament of where I am like right now in my current work cycle. Like, if you peel back the curtain, my last 3 months of working has been Alienware ad, 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 Alienware show, Alienware ad, right? And there's only so much like creative lateral freedom you can have with that. And you're right.
That's funny. That's you know what's funny is that I knew that after I watched it, I was like, oh, now I see why Joey was so excited to talk about it. And I knew immediately that your reaction to Inside was going to be so overwhelmingly positive. And you want to know why? It's because of that poster right behind you. The BoJack Horseman one. Yeah, exactly. I feel like in many ways this hits similar lines of tackling very real and depressing topics, but through the lens of comedy, right? And I do think I would agree. I think it's pretty transformative. I think both BoJack as well as Inside were really incredible pieces of TV and film. So
it's interesting because I also accept people who go, I didn't really like Inside because I was expecting something to be more funny. And I think that if you're going into it and being like, man, I want to like listen to like a special like Make Happy and I just want to have a bunch of yucks and laugh a bunch, that's not really the show. Like, there's moments in Inside that made me feel like physically uncomfortable to watch. And like,
and that's why you wrote Bezos, right?
Yeah, that's right. Well, also, no.
That is one of my favorite songs.
I wrote Bezos because I actually wanted to ask you about anything on Prime Day, but
oh, there was Prime Day. That is one of my favorite songs, though. Bezos won. Fucking fuck their wives, drink their blood. I don't know that whole concept of him being like a cheerleader for like the richest man in the world, and like trying to portray Jeff Bezos as like this protagonist in this satirical ways. I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah. I think it's fine if you don't think the thing was funny enough. I think that it wasn't as funny as other things, but like you're right. I do tend to skew towards media that I think also, I think I also identify with some of the stuff that Bo was talking about in the special. Like, oh hey, I'm like a white dude in like a position of some mild to moderate privilege who like wants to do something with it and not just like be quiet and kind of be like an agent for change, but I don't really know what to do because it's a complicated space. What should I do? Clearly not shut up. We're doing a podcast, right? Like I identify with that on a personal level. I identify with being very close to turning 30. I identify with, someone who, likes comedy and wants to like make art.
It was literally like fucking made for you, Joey. Bo like literally was like, what would be the best show for Joey? It's got to be artistic. It's got to have interesting bits of humor. It's got to explore certain social justices, problems in the world, and the problems of being a white dude and almost turning 30. And
also, like,
just for you and me, Joey.
Like I have empathy for someone who like is a perfectionist to the point of self mutilization. That's something that I have empathy for. This show notwithstanding, again, I'm not putting the YouTube comments in there to put the markers in. So I guess I do have a limit.
I thought you were a perfectionist, Joey.
I know. Please stop. I'm also someone who is really conflicted in the last couple of years about how good the internet is for humanity. And basically, the big picture takeaway for the entire show is it's like a rock opera thesis on 10 different ways why the internet has ruined humanity. So like even that eats at me. And then there's stuff that is just like so fucking fun and smart. Like if most people haven't watched Inside but like have seen probably Welcome to the Internet is the song that like has the most views on YouTube and is probably the most viral. Like
or All Eyes on Me. That's another one.
Yeah, which dude, if that's on Spotify with the breakdown in the middle where like Bo yells at you, and it's just like that really bothers me every time. I still get like mild anxiety listening to it. I've taken a lot of walks and just like listened to the soundtrack to try and like internalize stuff more. I'm a really broken person. Oops. The fact that like Welcome to the Internet is a song that is like, okay, the internet's bad. Haha, we made this joke before. Oh, it's nuanced because it's about it's like through the perspective where the person singing is the internet, and then also kind of like a Disney villain. Like, oh, that's a fun like nuanced twist on the internet's bad, right? And then even more so, like even the music tells a story because the background music is carnival music, and carnivals are all about like this fun facade of fun that you can never actually win at because it just fucking is meant for you to be rigged to lose. Like, I just threw something across the room.
Then the very sincere and optimistic part about, you know, putting the world in your hands and being able to have access to anything. Like the absolute good parts of the internet are still there. Just like the Instagram, the white woman's Instagram bit has that very sincere bit about her, you know, like hoping that, you know, she misses her mom and hopes that she made her proud and all that sort of thing. Like that very sincere bit that is still like kind of clowned on at the same time. Yeah, he does a really good job of being able to provide, to go to the heart of certain issues and not satirize them too much and bring them to like a very real point.
Anywho, if you can, I would highly recommend everyone watch Inside, and or I will happily debate about it in the YouTube comments or on Twitter. It was something that I am confident that I'm going to be thinking about for years to use as fuel, both as like a creative fuel and also as a personal fuel. So, and it's funny, you referenced, you know, like the BoJack thing behind me, because like my list of people who I actually like want to like meet and or work with in Hollywood is like, you know, Raphael Bob Waxberg, BoJack guy, Bo Burnham, Inside guy. Like they're very one and in of each other. So yeah, watch the thing. I recommend you watch the thing. It's funny. Funny's good. I guess you gotta have a Netflix subscription. Did you watch it with Ellie?
We were still jet lagged when we were watching it, so Ellie fell asleep halfway through.
Gotcha.
So, but I finished watching it. There are certain, obviously, the themes about the internet, and I think you have definitely picked up on the fact that I'm just not happy right now with my forays into the internet. The community is really pissing me off lately, and so there were certain parts of Inside as well that definitely hit me in that regard, where I was just like, God, I really fucking hate the internet.
Yeah, and especially when, like, you know, ultimately there's a world where you are beholden to them, right? Like, you both love these people and also like have a propensity to like hate people, you know, through the anonymity. Like it's
yes. Every single time, just to like quick encapsulate this one, is that pretty much every single time I enjoy my job and I'm enjoying casting, but more and more my interaction with the community of late has made me want to go the OD Pixel route. And he just doesn't have Reddit or Twitter on his phone, like, at all. He just doesn't interact with the community in that regard. So I'm like, damn. I learned that about Owen like literally this last season of the DPC, and then I'm like, damn, like 4 months later, I'm like, shit, I should do that.
Do you think you're just at like a susceptible time right now, or is it like a building up of stuff from like a long period of time?
I think it's a build up on both sides. I think it's a build up of the community and this whole like the bias stuff that's going on. The people seem to be discontent with the talent overall. There's end of a long season, so overexposure is a real thing. I think there's this tribalistic. I've been bringing up this constant, and it came to a head here. I could see it coming to a head, Joey. We talked about this like 6 months ago or some shit. Maybe not that long ago, but like, 3 months ago, I talked about the tribalism of these DPC regions. The fact that the various talent are covering certain regions, and therefore like they become the fans who watch a certain region, those talent become like their talent. The other talent are the bad guys. They're the fucking other, who are like, ugh, gross. And like that, I was saying that, and I was like, maybe that's a little extreme. And then it literally happens. It like literally happens right in front of me in the over the course of the last 2 weeks. And I'm just like, oh my God, this is so gross. Like I do not want. This was a terrible idea. Cancel the DBC immediately.
I don't want to open a can of worms, so I'm not going to. But I really, if I'm to focus in on some part of it, I don't understand truly the caster bias complaint and or everything about it. And I was at your home a couple days ago, and you were on stream. We were like casually talking about this. My first thought is like, am I just a dum-dum and like I don't understand enough about Dota to really pick up like when someone is being quote biased about something? Because with the exception of like maybe some teams and pro players who have casted at the summit, I have never once stopped down at an event that I've been watching and go, God, fucking Kyle or Brian or Owen or anybody, literally put anyone's name in there. I really have never had that thought. And is it just because I don't notice it? Like, is it there and people are more sensitive to it than me? Or are people just like oversensitive to an issue that I don't think really exists or also doesn't really matter?
I know there are going to be some people absolutely responding to this and telling me why I'm wrong. And believe me, I've thought a lot about this, and it is 100% more the latter. It is more so that people are hypersensitive to this. To be clear, there is always a kernel of truth to any of these sort of things. So the kernel of truth in this circumstance is that the BSJ instance, for example, he is not a commentator. He hasn't not had a lot of experience casting games. So yes, he did not do the balance of the broadcast very well. There's a difference between balance and bias, though. Bias improves that he is morally corrupt in some way and is actively cheering for one team or the other. Balance is being able to basically, if casting a game, the way I describe it is casting a game when it comes to bias and telling a story, is telling the story of two protagonists and only one of them can win, right? Two protagonists battling against each other. And because they're protagonists, you tell the story from each of their side, and you have to be able to balance that out. You have to try and give an equal amount of airtime to both of them. And BFJ did, again, I didn't actually go through the broadcast again. I listened to it casually when I was in the green room. But BSJ, like just knowing BSJ, he doesn't, again, remember when Brian was the fucking anti-NA guy 6 months ago? Actually, not even 6 months ago, like literally a month and a half ago. Remember, because Omega League, he flamed NA so badly that the players got upset at him, and Brian just became a meme of like the anti-NA Brian who, like, hail our European overlords and shit like that. Yeah, exactly. He can't even to Europe now. Right? And then like just one cast, and all of a sudden it's the exact opposite. He's only biased for NA because he's American, all that sort of thing. But the truth is, he just didn't know how to balance a broadcast. He saw a draft that he thought was better, which was Quincy Cruz, but it's based off of the analysis of the draft. That's the way Brian works. He just hyper fixates on things like that. So, he has a very much an engineer's mind. So he breaks down drafts and he looks at one, he prefers one, and he understands one better. And then he just tells the broadcast from that perspective. And he doesn't have like the back of his head saying like, hey, make sure to balance it and talk about the other team's draft and what that does. So it's because he's inexperienced as a caster, not because he hates you and your favorite team. That's it. But then, that blows up because there's this tribalistic thing where it's like, oh, you didn't hire enough of the talent from my region's DPC. Well, did you not pay attention to the Singapore major? Like, they hired all the Southeast Asian talent and then hired as minimal from the other regions as possible. Like, what?
It's only okay when they're, malaffected.
Yeah.
And again, I'll go back to saying, like, we need to diversify talent a bit more. And we need to be, oh, yeah, you sip that Red Bull. You make sure you do not go to bed tonight, sir.
Okay, I'm going to disagree with that, Joey.
About the Red Bull?
Diversity? No, about the diversity in Dota talent. And I'm not talking about social justice diversity. Of course, we need more women in the scene in general. I'm talking about specifically new talent coming in. All right?
There's been a lot of that.
There has been a lot of new talent coming in. I see this comment because, this, for whatever reason, this is snowballed from these casters hate this region to we got to get new casters in. We got to get new talent in. Like, fuck the old guard. It's a old boys club. I see these like constant fucking euphemisms all the time that it's like some weird gatekeeped community and stuff. If you don't, like, the people who make those comments don't follow any other esports or sports. They just don't. They can't, because every other esport or sport, like Dota, is by far the one that has the biggest revolving door. Think about how many Dota talent have retired in circumstances that just aren't normal. Merlini retired to go work a 9-to-5 regular person job. Nobody does that in a talent industry when they reach the top. Nobody does that.
He would still be casting.
Yeah.
That's his choice. He would get hired for everything if he wanted to.
Yeah. BTS, LD. He creates this empire with BTS and retires to work on that fully. But he could just as easily still be casting if he wanted to, right? Red Eye retires. Toby retires, right? James gets fired. Like, who else? Like, Winter just like seemingly stopped doing things. AC retired. He moved on to do behind the scenes Twitch stuff. He chose to give up the talent life. Like that's just not normal. People don't do that. Cinderin went back to casting. Draskell went to focus on streaming because he had other obligations that he couldn't do talent work as much. Like, these things are not normal. Normally, when people reach the top echelon of talent work in general, they don't stop because it's very hard to get there in the first place, and it's a very privileged position to be in. Just think of all the new talent we've gotten just this year. Just at this Animajor, we got Effie, who never worked an event before in her life, right? She's there. T Governor had not worked a Valve event before, hadn't worked anything besides ESL1 Birmingham and these last 2 DPCs in Omega League, right? Like, he started this year, basically. Jenkins has been a YouTuber and he's been around the scene, but this has been his breakout year. Like, he's actually now fully committed to doing talent work. And that's relatively new. AUI, totally new. BSJ was a YouTuber and player before, but this year has been his breakout year. Like, those are all new people just within this year.
We saw like Moxie finally get like, real recognition by being at ESL. Like Lysander and Lacoste are even people who I still think of as like, new B-Cop really had a year, right?
Almost everybody at the Animajor started after me. right?
Yeah.
And I'm supposed
You're
to be
the
one of
old
those
guy.
people that like, yeah, like I'm somehow I'm the old guy. I'm the person who I usually think of as like being a part of the newer generation, right? Toby, AC, all those guys were all before me, right? I broke out sometime after that. But like I go through this list: OD Pixel, Suns Fam, Lacoste, Lizard, BSJ, AUI 2000, Jenkins, Tsunami, Kyle, T Governor, Effie, Garrett. There's only two people that were really established talent before me. Oh, sorry. Sir Action Slacks, Rich also included in there. So it would be three people: Sheever, Cinderin, Fogged. Right? And actually, Fogg started after me.
Yeah.
What am I saying? He started at the Manila Major, so Fogg doesn't get to count either. It's literally just Sheever and Cinderin. They're the only two people who were still there before me.
So that's almost a full rotation turnover in the last 6 years.
Yeah. That doesn't happen in other, like, you just watch other esports.
Who's casting
I've
Counter-Strike
been
now?
watching other esports. Yeah, like Andres is still there, you know? Like he's still holding down the fort, you know? If it wasn't for that incident that happened, what's his name? Sadakist would still be on top. James Bardolph, DDK and Bardolph were still going strong until Valorant came in. You know, like Anders and Semler are back together. You know, it's and you follow other esports and God, and then if you look at the sports industry,
it's a big news anytime when new comes over.
Yeah, those dudes are literally been in the same spot for decades. So you think Dota's an old boys club? Excuse me? You just don't know anything about, like, you literally just don't follow any other sports.
I agree, and I'm going to keep on pushing that we should, like, you know, toss more women in there.
Yeah, I absolutely agree.
Yeah, I just don't get the bias thing. Make it a critique about Brian, even if you want to, right? About maybe, like, you know, something he can improve on, but like, not everybody who has a fucking U.S. passport is like, man, I can't wait for EG to win. No one gives a fuck.
Yeah, I will tell you right now, if you guys are listening to this podcast, it's probably because you like me and Joey in some way. If you trust my opinion, I'm just going to tell you flat out, most of the talent don't really give a fuck. They really don't give a fuck. Like, there's very few times where it's like, we actually do kind of want a team to win, and it's usually because we want a 2-0. Or it's because a storyline is more interesting. Oh shit. Guys, if OG wins this game, they're up against Evil Geniuses next series. Oh shit, that's gonna be hype. That's some serious drama, right? No Tail versus Fly. What's gonna happen? Like, you think we were cheering for that at TI? Of course we were, because that's a good fucking storyline. You know, did anybody really care about individually about those players? Not really. I mean, like, again, damn it. You didn't win $5 million. You only won 500 grand. Fuck. I'm so sorry, dude. That really sucks. My heart, fucking, it's bleeding for you.
It's true.
No?
Although, I guess Brian gets to be biased now. He just has to be biased towards the right team, who pays his paycheck.
Now, I mean, the funny part was he was like, he wanted the announcement to go out sooner so he could be more biased towards the Liquid, because he thought it would be funny, you know?
We almost made that happen.
Almost.
So close. But, dude, that's thank you for distracting me with conversation. My to-do list for the rest of the night is now 10 something. Is longer than I want it to be. One of those includes taking a shower because I feel kind of gross. The others include a lot of stuff that I'm going to ignore. So if I work out, take a shower, jerk off, read Reddit, maybe I can eventually get to the other stuff I have to start doing by midnight. And the podcast.
And don't forget to put out the podcast.
That's true. I almost forgot last week after we recorded it. But
yeah, make sure to edit out all the pauses and ums and filler language like you used to do, Joey.
I did that for longer than people realize.
I listened back to one of the first podcasts recently.
That would be interesting.
I listened to our podcast with Dan. That podcast was fire. We are actually top form, all three of us. That was a fire podcast.
Dan's pretty good. Did we just sound less comfortable with each other? Was that the takeaway?
A little bit, yeah. I mean, I think we got into gear pretty quickly. I mean, we're both performers, So
that's Except I'm a performer who has never made any art, so I'm gonna go flagellate myself now. Fucking Bo, go watch Inside. Go watch the Qualifiers. Go fucking find Mickey and Insania and tell them that they're the best fucking Dota players in the world after they kick Nigma's ass.